Gunslinger Vault, Gunblaze Vault. I have a few names for this vault build, but it seems that those names don't fit what I am trying to create. In this video, I would like to share to you a speed vault which takes advantage also of his riot shield. The only problem that I have for this build is its damage output towards high-level missions. As you all know, if you love to move around with your shield, then the only guns you can use are your pistols, and the problem is, most pistols are not high-level material, which is why I have tried a couple of secondary weapons, and even bought a couple of rivens just to make this vault endgame material. Okay, let me share to you my vault build, and I have the perfect name for it. Let me share to you my Pistolero vault. Before we head to the weapon choices, let me share to you first my mod setup for this vault build. So this is my vault, a build which has lots of duration, efficiency and some power strength. This build prioritizes Volt's speed and electric shield abilities. As you already know, Volt's electric shield doesn't need any range at all, and its damage output doesn't scale with power strength. However, his speed does need power strength if we want to have the highest mobility and as well as reload speed. For some players, quick thinking may be useless for Volt, but not for me. It's my safety net whenever I miss on blocking enemy damage with my shield. Do take note that Volt has a really high energy pool, and this build is really efficient that we can have enough energy every time to use quick thinking at least once. Well, just once, as we don't want to rely that much on this mod, especially on high level plays. Like your operator always say, move and strike, which is why I have mobilize on the Exilus mod slot for more mobility. Now for some, they will use the combination of sprint boost on the Aura slot and rush on the Exilus mod slot, to obtain more speed and to somehow utilize Volt's passive ability, which by the way, gives you bonus damage in every distance you travel on feet. Well, the idea is pretty great, especially when you are running it in the simulacrum. You are speedy and then you get bonus damage, but the reality is, this don't happen quite a lot in real missions. Let me ask you, would you prefer running around first to get that bonus damage, which you can use on one shot only, and you need to run again to stack that bonus damage? I guess not. The bonus damage is pretty unreliable in real missions. Yes, I did try the transistor shield augment and it did work pretty well on this build, but the problem is, I need to sacrifice some efficiency mods which I don't like doing, especially that I always do endurance runs. You can't survive without energy in high levels, especially if you are using Volt. Now Volt's electric shield does have some really cool features aside from boosting every shots fired through it. For those who doesn't know, each shields gives your shots 50% bonus electric damage, which can go up to 300% when you have 6 shields active. In addition, it grants you 200% more critical damage, but this does not stack with additional shields however. But like I've said, there's more to it than boosting your damage. One cool feature of Volt's electric shield is its ability to knock down enemies. Now the knockdown can open up enemies to finisher damage, which is pretty useful in some times, but we won't be discussing that further as we will focus on a pistol build Volt for this video. In addition, Volt's shield does synergy really well with Zenuric's energizing dash. You did see earlier that my build is energy efficient, and when you try to cast energizing dash, you will restore energy even if you're actively holding your shield. Just remember that when you go out on your Warframe, the shield will be detached from your Volt, but the most cool feature of Volt's electric shield is that it can block frontal damage coming from almost all gunfires and area of effect damage. However, be very careful on those enemies that uses guns with innate punch through, like the Scorch with its Ignis, as it bypasses the electric shield's blocking capability. Yes, the electric shields has holes in its defensive capability, which is why I have quick thinking for safety net and enemy radar for locating enemy position. This aura is really helpful if you want to move around with Volt while using his shield, as you can spot enemies on your minimap. Okay, I think you have enough knowledge about my build. Let's proceed to my weapon choices. So what's the best pistol for this build? Simple, those pistols that can crit a lot, and can hit hard. Now there are a couple of those weapons. There's the Extelito Prime, the Twin Grakatas, the Vakamarilok, and more. However, both Extelito Prime and Twin Grakatas does burn ammo really fast, and I just don't pistols that consumes ammo really fast right now. The Vakamarilok however is pretty decent, but the problem is, its base damage is more towards impact. I had to increase its slash damage just to make it work in high level plays, as it just don't hit that hard when facing heavily armored units. So after trying a bunch of pistols, there are two that outshines the others for this specific build. One is the Magnus, and the other is the Ufona Prime. Okay, let's see my build first for my Magnus. As you can see, I have a riven for this pistol. It's not actually a great riven right now, and I will re-roll it more. This weapon will be a beast if I have crit chance, crit damage and damage stats on it, and since Magnus has a good riven disposition, it would be much easier to get those stats with a few roll, I guess. So the build is purely damage, multi-shot and a lot of critical. Now I did add Pistol Pestilence in this build as my riven has a cold status, so I can get viral, which perfectly synergies with maim to boost my slash damage for this weapon. If you don't have a riven yet, then you can replace this riven slot with Augur Pact, or you can put Frostbite on this slot to get that viral proc. Just take note that it may not perform like the build with a riven, especially when you are facing high level, heavily armored units. I just want to be honest here, an Magnus with riven, plus this Volt build, is endgame material, while a normal Magnus build without riven can be viable for mid-level plays. Okay, before we proceed to Ufona Prime, let me give a short demo first on what this setup can do. The damage of the Magnus is somehow good, but you know me, I don't settle for just good, as I wanna give you guys the best. So, I present to you Ufona Prime. This pistol perfectly synergies with this build because of its really high crit chance and crit multiplier. The problem however is, its base damage is more towards impact, and it has low status chance on its primary fire. Its secondary fire has a good status chance, but it doesn't really give you that much damage at all. So, are these really a problem? Not at all. Before I show you how sick Ufona Prime can be with my Pistolero Volt, let's discuss first about the build. Yes, I also have a riven on this pistol, but not that good. If you have a riven, then I suggest you roll for crit chance, crit damage and damage, just like the Magnus, but way better if these stats are present for this weapon. If you don't have riven, then you can add anything on this slot. Say, you can have Gunslinger for more fire rate, or some dual status mods, or even 90% elemental mods. Just don't expect that it will kill heavily armored units fast. Before I forget, I would just like to add that you can add Arcane Velocity and Arcane Precision on this setup to both boost your fire rate and damage. It perfectly synergies with this setup, as we always crit and we always aim for the head because we have hydraulic crosshairs equip on our pistols. I know some of you are worried about this mod in real missions, as some may find it hard to land headshots, but don't worry, as Volt can make that easy for you. Volt's first ability, called Shock, has this feature that stun lock an enemy for a few seconds. In fact, it has a very long frontal range. As you can see here, I can still hit those enemies with this ability even if they are really far away. With this ability, you can easily proc that crit buff from your hydraulic crosshairs mod. Okay, now let me give you a short demo on how powerful Ufona Prime is with this setup. So that's how I build my Pistolero Vault. Take note that those are not the final damage output of this build, as I haven't maxed out my primed target cracker and primed pistol gambit just yet. The crit damage will probably increase once I get those mods on max rank, and also, if I have the perfect riven roll for my pistols, then the damage output will be humongous, especially on my Ufona Prime. Now, I know some of you will say that, why not just use your primary weapons for this build? Actually, you can do that. You can use my vault build for your primary weapons and it perfectly suits that purpose, but the thing is, I don't like camping. Remember that you can't use primary weapons while running with your shield, and, I just hate to be on one spot right now. I love to move around and kill stuff, as it's more fun playing Vault that way, in my honest opinion. If you love playing Vault, and want some active gameplay, then I definitely suggest that you try out my Pistolero Vault setup. So that's it. Hope that you find this video informative. As always, please don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoy watching it, and for first timers, you can join the Grind team by simply subscribing to this channel. Just remember to turn on notifications to receive daily Warframe updates from this channel. Thank you so much for watching. Squad Leader signing off.